Hey everybody, how you doing? Yeah, I just have some thoughts about this schools over stadiums initiative that is out there, is getting a little bit of press, but also no scrutiny at all by the media. It doesn't matter whether the size of the media, they just with the exception of Zenny 62 Media, they just parrot out what it says. But I wrote my concerns on zenny.report.com with the idea of making this live stream blog, so I'm doing it. So it won't be long, but here's the point. All right. You would think that schools over stadiums was ran by a concerned parent with children in the Las Vegas school system, right? But it's not. The person who heads it, the spokesperson, the founder, the guy who ran the website and I believe built it, has no kids. He's not married. He has a bunch of pictures of himself. He ran, I believe, for district election for representative in the state a few years ago, and that's it. All right. So, as I wrote in my piece, where I said, look, I've got nothing personal against him at all, but there's just images that come about that kind of make you scratch your head. And in a normal political campaign, the organizers make sure also to have a diverse coalition of people, backers that pop up every time, right? But he doesn't have that. Okay. Normally, you have scores of blacks and Latinos. All right. No, and Asians. And, well, basically BIPOC, blacks and people of color, right? I don't see that with what schools over stadiums and this gentleman is doing at all. Instead, what I see is, well, basically, primarily a bunch of white guys and some women who are teachers, and that's it. But mostly men. You see the men, there's like three of them, they pop up, and that's it. Okay. And the other people are from Oakland, California. Yeah, not even in the state. And a lot of their funders are from Oakland. Like my friend Michael Colbruno, who's the port commissioner, Port of Oakland. They're all pissed off the A's want to leave because the city of Oakland wasn't treating them right. And I mean, not them, but the city of Oakland wasn't treating the A's right. So it's this weird coalition of people that when you start looking at it, it doesn't add up to make any sense whatsoever. So you begin to think, okay, what's this really about? All right. And then they really don't even know the political players. The head of the effort retweeted a tweet that was critical of a person that the head of the effort should know, but clearly doesn't. Peter Guzman is the head of the Latin Chamber of Commerce in Las Vegas. All right. But the head of the effort acts like he's just some Joe Blow that's Latin and he can sort of make fun of him and make fun of Chamber of Commerce because that's what the tweet did. Now, why would you want to make fun of a person who is a member of a Chamber of Commerce in Las Vegas if you want to get them to donate to your effort, right? Why would you want to do that? Okay. But this guy wasn't even thinking like that. He wasn't thinking, oh, this is Peter Guzman and I should befriend him. No, and not at all. Okay. All right. The tweets that the head of the effort advances, reposts, they tend to be uh, baseless tweets of conservative, anti-government, and anti-union, which is what this fellow's communicating because he's basically also saying that he said Peter Guzman is a union guy. He's anti-union. It was completely baseless. And the tweet that he was repeating was of Georgia-based J.C. Bradbury, who's this guy who criticizes stadium subsidies because he doesn't like that unions are involved in getting work, which means he tries all these different angles to basically say he doesn't like that black people get work or people of color or women. These people are crazy. But this is what's pushed at us. We don't even bother to take a look at it. I'm just letting you know. You need to take a look, okay? All right? And then, all right. So they've got a set of social media people that don't even care about such things as the level of government funding. 120 million for a bond issue is not a lot for a stadium. I mean, the founder of the group, when the Raiders issue came up, was quoted as saying, you know, right now I'm against the bond issue, implying that, hey, I might be for it later. Overall, he was really quiet about it. I mean, like, okay. Unlike now, when all of a sudden it's class warfare, okay? And this call for privately financed stadiums means that it's less likely that the community will have any access to a large scale public private building. That's if, because it's not public private, it's private, right? And people should be able to have use of something that seats upwards of 40,000, 50, 30,000 to 60,000 people, or heck, 20,000 to 60,000 people. All right. Now, take a look at Sphere. Sphere is privately owned. It's a tourist event, but it's huge. It seats 17,000 people. It's not tied with the kind of basically regulations it would have regarding the involvement of people who look like me if it were partly owned and financed by the government. And so, as much of a tourist attraction that as it is, the fact of the matter is, my thought is, if I walk in, will I see anybody that looks like me that actually has a job there? I dare say probably not. But these are things that should be of concern to people. Private financing is not the best way to go all the time. Just because somebody has some issue about sports or whatever, which is stupid. This isn't about children. This isn't about schools. If it were about schools, the Minders, the founder, would have curried favor with Dave Cobble, knowing that, and you can do the math and figure this out, that the Athletics are going to get almost $800 million in revenue their first year. Don't you think that schools over stadiums would want to steer some of that toward education? All right. Isn't that the logical way to go? There's nothing logical about what schools over stadiums does. It's just class warfare. And not even that even it's not even really that. It's warfare on behalf of one person, this gentleman who heads it, who's trying to get his face out there and burnish his political credentials. That's it. It's got nothing to do with kids. You don't see kids represented front and center in what he does. You see the logo. The logo doesn't have kids in it. It doesn't even have a picture of a schoolhouse with kids, in the windows and stuff, right? He's not thinking about kids one bit. So who is he really thinking about? Is this some front that was really started by the city of Oakland to destroy or try to destroy the relocation of the athletics? But the city of Oakland, my city that I worked for, and I've represented in 5 different ways for over the past generation, really cares about having sports and being involved properly in sports. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Start a sports commission, but I'll double down and issue an initiative so that the people who run the sports commission are put there by the public, not by elected officials, not given these crony seats, but they have real responsibilities. And so that the sports commission is mated with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. But I digress. Okay. But I just had to say that straight out. All right. Okay. Schools over stadiums is not what it claims to be, folks. It just isn't. Okay. It's not for schools. It's not for kids. It's not for blacks and Latinos. It's just one Las Vegas person's political aspirations matched with a set of A's fans who don't care about anything but the fear of losing their right to party at the Coliseum. So, hey, you know what? Their right to party would be just as well serve this ballpark we're in. Oh, San Jose. Ugh, perish the thought. Or somewhere in Fremont. I want them in Oakland if they're going to stay in Oakland. I don't want them to say, okay, well, it's off and then you come back to the Bay Area, but oh, it's okay. You don't go to Oakland. It's not okay. This is about Oakland. It's always about Oakland. That's why I question A's fans. Oakland A's fans are not fans of Oakland. All right. They're not because they're fans of Oakland. They'll be pissed off with how the mayor handled things, like Raiders fans were who were really involved in Oakland, and they do something about it, or they've tried to. All this is too late by a good 2.5 years. Absolutely shameful, absolutely ridiculous. All right. See you later. Subscribe to Zinni62 on YouTube. Send this around. Share it. See you later.